Hey guys, Paul Very Family Friendly Gaming. This is FFG Sports on the Club Shay Shay interview of Marshawn Lynch. The thing is almost 2 hours long. Okay, the first thing that stuck out to me about this interview is, wow, Marshawn Lynch is extremely profane. I mean, I didn't count all the profanities, but he used them commonplace pretty much every sentence. Whether he is repeating the N-word repeatedly, the F word, the S word, I mean, just very, 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 very profane. And I'm a little surprised that there wasn't any kind of like a warning on YouTube about it. There was nothing. They had no warnings. I mean, I thought that level of profanity should have some kind of a warning. Okay. So one of the things he talked about was that Russell Wilson called him from a blocked number, which means he has a private number most likely, and doesn't share. And he had to reach out to some people to talk to him. And he wanted to talk to him after this game where he had gotten 2 touchdowns, over 150 yards against the Tennessee Titans. So I did some research, looked this up. That was on 10/13/2013. Marshawn Lynch got 2 touchdowns and 155 yards against the Tennessee Titans. They barely won that game, 20-13, thanks mainly to the defense, Legion of Boom. So it wasn't like a runaway victory. Now, Marshawn Lynch also claimed that Russell Wilson had a really bad game, and the plan was him to get 500 yards out of that game. Okay, did some research again, right? Because I was like, yeah, I kind of question this. In the NFL, the entire history of the NFL, there has only been 26 times a quarterback has thrown for over 500 yards. Ben Roethlisberger has done it 4 times. Tom Brady did it during a Super Bowl. And it's very, very rare. Now, the most the yards Russell Wilson has ever gotten was 452 4 years later against the Houston Texans. So this isn't something Russell Wilson had ever done before. Plus, the Seahawks weren't really designed for all the passing. They didn't really have a good receiving core back in 2013 either. So I'm kind of like, I don't know that. But let's look at the stats Russell Wilson had on that game. I have them right here. So he had 23 completions on 31 attempts, which means there was only 8 incompletions. A 74.2 percentage. He threw for 257 yards, averaging 8.3 yards a throw. No touchdowns, no interceptions. So, and it doesn't really show me how many running yards he may have gotten on top of the passing yards. But I'm sorry, but that doesn't sound like a horrible game. You know what I'm saying? So then I could see, because I try to look at both sides of a story and try to figure out what's going on here. Marshawn Lynch also mentioned that he had been partying when he had made this call. So it's possible he doesn't remember correctly. It's also possible that he made some of this up. I don't know. But I'm not accusing him. I just some of this stuff kind of doesn't add up. Well, when I look at it, I'm like, 257 wasn't horrible back for that era for 10 years ago in 2013. And they won the game. And also, I remember back in that period of time, Russell Wilson was kind of considered more of a game manager, Again, I said they didn't have a great receiving core. So I could see Marshawn Lynch calling him and be like, hey, I got your back if you have another bad game. Well, he might be like, I didn't have a bad game. And we won. That's all that matters. And maybe it's kind of like, I don't really care about, my own personal stats and everything. Maybe they had a plan for him to do all kinds of passing and it just didn't work out. But again, he only was given 31 attempts and 23 were completions. So there was only 8 incompletions throughout the entire game. And it was a low score, 20-13. So I'm kind of like, the other thing is the Seahawks were definitely a running team. Ever since Pete Carroll had been a running team. They're always trying to get the run going. So I'm not really sure, that I buy the fact that they were like, we're going to go pass heavy because they got bad DBs and we're gonna get 500 yards for Russell Wilson. Like I said, he's never done that in his entire career in the NFL. So if he hasn't got a 500-yard game and think about all the games for all the history of the NFL, and it's only been done 26 times, I kind of think that's an unrealistic goal, and I question if that was the goal. Of course, Marshawn Lynch talked about his drug use. He also, as I mentioned before, he has the bad language addiction, which is one of the hardest to break. So you got the bad language addiction, you got the drug addiction, and I know plenty of people have, you know, had memory issues, memory loss, memory confusion, and even made things up, you know, because of drug use. So I kind of question that. So some other things that I got from the Club Shay Shay Marshawn Lynch interview. So Marshawn Lynch complained that Russell Wilson had gotten special treatment. By the way, just, you know, I am a Seahawks fan, okay? I'm not a Russell Wilson fan. Just want to make that clear, right? I'm giving you good, concise analysis, even though I'm not really a fan of the man as the quarterback, okay? He went to Russell Wilson got special treatment, and they had this kumbaya room where people would call each other out for things they did wrong in games or whatever. But they were told they couldn't talk to Russell Wilson, and he got special treatment, okay? But then later in the interview, or earlier, I can't remember which, he referenced that he didn't want to go to the motivational meetings, and he got in trouble with the coach because he didn't want to show up to a team meeting because he didn't need it. Isn't that him getting special treatment? He doesn't have to do these meetings, but all the other players have to do these meetings? Like, I'm kind of going, wait a minute. If you say, I don't have to go to these meetings, and you just take them on yourself to, like, I'm not going to go, you're just going to skip a mandatory meeting because you don't think you need it. You meant to screwing up in college, you meant to screwing up in the Super Bowl. I'm kind of like, you know, maybe you did need that. Maybe you did need to have a little more attention to detail. I'm just saying, you know, he complained about special treatment, but then he got special treatment. You know, and it was like I don't want to do that. And then Pete Carroll's like, okay, I'll let you have your way. You get your way, you get special treatment. You know, I can't see you complaining about others getting special treatment when you got special treatment. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're in a glass house, you're throwing lots of rocks, what's going to happen? Rocks are coming back. Glass is breaking. That's all I'm saying. I also found it funny, he talked about Aaron Rodgers in college at Cal had lied for him. And so he earned all kinds of trust for the guy who lied for me. And maybe I'm a little confused in the brain here, but someone lies and you're like, that builds trust? To me, that's kind of backwards. I get that, well, they defended me, but he also was complaining about accountability, and then he didn't have to be accountable. So it's like, double standard much? You know, you sit there and complain about something, and then, you know, you brag about how you didn't have to do it yourself. You didn't have to be accountable for those meetings. You didn't have to be accountable in college for going the wrong direction. You know, I mean, it worked out. You got a touchdown. It may have actually worked out because there was a little bit of a delay. They gave the blockers more time, and it messed up the defense. It may have worked because of that, right? You know what I'm saying? I've seen that before. Kind of like in the Seahawks Denver Broncos Super Bowl, there was that one hop to Percy Harvin that slowed up his return, which opened up lanes for him to be able to run that kickoff back in the second half, at the start of the second half, for a touchdown, because it delayed his start of that. You know, so then the people running down the field were in a different position. He was able to break on through. Okay, get it. He talked about his youth days, that when he was a kid that he would sneak out. If they could get their hands on anything, they try to sell it. So it sounds like to me he was a thief. He was stealing from people. I wonder if he's, now that he was, you know, multi-millionaire, if he's gone back and paid the people he stole from or not, or if he's just kind of like ignored them. I don't know. I would love to hear about that, because that would be one of my questions. Like, okay, did you ever go back and make restitution to all the people you stole from? You know, or is it just like, oh yeah, I don't care. Well, maybe you should have found their families and been like, look, hey, I stole from your store. You know, here's $10,000 now. I know it is probably more than the cost of whatever I stole, but with interest, and just apology, you know, type deal. I don't know. So he also talked about how in their family, if they would get in a fight with someone, it wasn't one-on-one. It wasn't mano-a-mano. All their family and cousins and everything would show up to gang up on someone and beat them all up, because they couldn't do one-on-one. And that to me shows a major dishonor on his part, not being honorable enough to fight one-on-one. The other thing is, he complained about how the media called him a thug in Buffalo after he got in some trouble. You admitted that you and your whole family would go beat up anyone who had trouble with anyone in your family. So that sounds pretty thuggish to me. You know, I said people with honor would be like, no, it's one-on-one. You know, the others can watch to make sure that they don't do anything horrible to me after, you know, if I lose the fight afterwards or whatever. But, you know, that's pretty thuggish to be like, nope, we're just gonna have a bunch of people gang up on you and assault you. And that's like, got a little bit of a problem there. You know what I'm saying? I have a bit of an issue. And then you complain that you were called a thug. Well, you know, if the shoe fits, are you wearing it? Like the cleats you advertised in the interview? Yeah, I already mentioned about Aaron Rodgers lying for him. And the thing was, again, it goes back to he's always like, you gotta be accountable, you gotta be accountable, you gotta be accountable. And then he wasn't. And so I'm like, it's kind of hard to listen to you talk about people need to be accountable when you have people lie for you and you accept that. If you had honor, you would have been like, no, I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you so much. It was my mistake. It won't happen again. I will work to get better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't ready to go in the game. I went in the game. I made a mistake. I will work on improving. I'll work on my details. So it sounds like to me he never learned from that, because he even mentioned being on the wrong side of the Super Bowl when that interception was thrown when they were on like the 1-2 yard line, whatever it was. And my thing about that whole play, and they made a big deal about this, and it's like, when they give you the ball, when they give you the ball, when they give you the ball. Pete Carroll has gone over this. Pete Carroll has talked about this in interviews. I've seen over and over and over again. They had one timeout, 16 seconds, 2 more downs. So they were going to have to throw at one point to stop the clock. Because they gave Marshawn Lynch on, like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, whatever it was, and he got to the 1 yard line. He didn't quite make it all the way in. If they ran another run play, they were going to have to either burn the timeout, or they were going to have to like quickly throw a pass because there only had 1 more down left. You know, they're going to have to do something quick. My complaint about that whole thing, I don't mind the pass at that point. But before the first half ended in that Super Bowl against the Patriots, they had, in the first half, they had thrown kind of like this little out route to that really tall receiver, sort of like the front corner of the end zone. So if he doesn't catch it, and they throw it up high. If he doesn't catch it, it goes out of bounds. Like there's no chance of anything other happening. Like he's throwing it up, kind of a jump ball up high. That scored a touchdown right before the half ended, the first half. I thought that would have been a perfect play to throw a same kind of fade, either on the left side, the right side, whatever. Throw that same kind of pass to that tall guy. If it's a touchdown, great. If not, it's incomplete. It goes out of bounds. No one gets it. You know what I'm saying? Like that would have made more sense to me. And then if that didn't work, then you can run it one more time with Marshawn. You know, but that's just my opinion on that. I don't understand why they were just constantly like, why didn't they give you the ball? Why didn't they give you the ball? Well, maybe they didn't give you the ball because this. Maybe they didn't give you the ball because that. Maybe they're racist. You know, do you have evidence before you start making these wild accusations? I'm so sick and tired of these wild accusations without any evidence, you know, any proof. And I'd already mentioned about the addiction, the drugs, the swearing. So I would not recommend watching that personally. It was interesting to get a little insight to Marshawn Lynch. I do like when he talked about the finances and when he learned about financial things, and having 2 financial advisors, one for all his NFL money, one for everything outside the NFL. I think it's neat that he's, you know, bought some restaurants and has, like, you know, family members running them and helping people out and everything. That I think that's kind of neat, doing stuff with kids. Like, that's why he didn't go to the White House, was because he had a kid thing, and he would rather do that. So I mean, there was some good there, you know, and I didn't really understand the whole Buffalo thing and the cops always pulling them over. I don't know if it was because he had done something criminal and, you know, whatnot. I didn't say one cop pulled him over because he wanted an autograph for his kid or something. I didn't really understand what he was trying to imply with that. You know, like there was he left some things out that I think would have been better to explain to people watching to understand, okay, what happened this period of your life and why. At the very end, got into the question, does he belong in the Hall of Fame? I personally am on the fence, not sure one way or the other, because I think he did lots of good runs, lots of good body of work in his career. But then there's just the morals and the ethics, the character that is kind of questionable on a lot of things. You gotta go, not so sure that, you know, you're a good role model with some of these things. And I don't think he's gonna ever clean them up. It's always funny. He'd be like, I gotta go be me. But then he complains about other people being them, that, you know, they shouldn't be able to be them. It's like, you know, again, too many for me, there are too many double standards, too many inconsistencies. You know, complain about one thing and do it yourself. You know, so that kind of bothers me. I do think Shannon Sharp did a good job with the interview. I think he asked lots of questions. Not really big on the pro drug and pro addiction things they did there. I'm just not big on that personally. But that's my thought on the Club Shay Shay Marshawn Lynch interview. I thank everyone for watching. I hope everyone have a wonderful rest of your day.